this is first off. Can I control?
No.
No.
Unfortunately.
You have failed on the first step.
Deal with it.
I have to like deal with 5%.
Yes.
I like to actually hit.
Is
what
there
I
actually is there a DPI setting on the mouse?
Nope. It's a basic 11-year-old mouse, so no DPI.
Oh no, nice.
Okay, so let's see. Hold spacebar.
Okay, well, please tell about the game.
Right. So yeah, let's start with who worked on this. So my name is Alexander String. I'm the programmer and the project manager of 90's FPS, or 3 Layers of Hell. For now, that's going to be the name. Then Daniel Peterson, our 3D modeler and concept artist.
It would help if I could actually aim. It would also help if I could actually distinguish what the hell is happening.
Right.
Everything is just glossy.
Yep.
It's just a big
right.
mirror.
Yes. And then we have Benko. Here's
Me.
There's another 3D model. And
But currently I do the sound effects and eventually I will do the music also.
I like the level design.
okay. So we have been working now for, I think this is the 5th club season that we have been working on, and the focus has been on polishing like the gameplay loop and
Okay.
basically get like the art direction clear, and yeah, basically as you can see, of course not everything is finished, so there are tons of things still missing, but there are now like proper armor, 3D models, and health packs and torches to give mood, and skulls even, as you will see later on in the game. But other things such as player model, enemy characters, they're still work in progress because it takes a long time to work on.
Okay.
Were there secrets?
Wait,
There's another level.
yes, there are 2 currently levels in the game. So, first level basically introduces the basic stuff like, high jumping and dashing. And then the second level basically improves the concept, I guess, and adds more stuff like key cards and other stuff. Also, you have a shotgun. I forgot to mention. Yeah.
I do.
I forgot to mention. And yes, you can die in this game. So if you switch with mouse, yes.
Wait, no number switching.
Unfortunately, currently no, but it's work in
I
progress.
see. It's a hard feature to implement.
Well, not hard to implement, but hard to implement properly. Like a
Continue to come.
yeah. So
You kind of need an inventory system.
yeah, we have made inventory system, and also we have.
Time!
Yeah, that's by my 3D model and the concept art made by David Mercer. There's the skull key card.
I'm becoming rich.
Let's see. Oh, there we go.
So, how long have you been working on this now?
A bit over a year now. So it has been that long of a project. No ammo. And yeah, there's also a music system that transitions depending on how many enemies are in combat.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it is rough on the edges because it transitions immediately from one state to another.
Why do you think you have kept going? Like, and why has it sort of kept evolving?
You're dead.
Then if I could actually hit something, that would help a lot.
Well, it's a shotgun.
Yeah. Well, can also try speedrun it. That's also a possibility.
Okay, so
Well, I think the reason is because I like first-person shooters, and I have this kind of I have a dream to release a game at some point, as a big product in quotes. I think this is I want to show that what we can basically achieve with just like 3 guys, or what you can achieve by just in time, basically. How you basically improve yourself. And I think also push the shotgun.
Okay. I guess I'll just not shoot.
Can you finish the game? Yes, you can.
Does the audience have some comments and things? Yes, they do. Yes. Claps for gameplay. Yes.
How many of the models were made in-house?
We don't count, but I think we can take a look at Trello list.
Like the guns were made by you, right?
Yes.
What about the enemy models?
Nope. Those are prefabs from a website called Mixamo, where you can basically download existing models and add animations that they also have. Or you can use Adobe's program called Fuse, create the humanoid models and then import them to Mixamo and so on and so forth.
Daniel first.
Yes.
Daniel first here.
Okay. Since I also have experience from working on a keyboard project for a longer period of time, I know that there's a lot of stuff that you sort of learn. You don't learn if you make sort of short projects. So what is maybe to highlight the main thing that you are sort of grateful for that you learned through this project?
Yes, basically learning the management and then scoping and maybe stuff like basically making necessary changes. So some things didn't work. Like if you remember, maybe back in I don't know, back in last year, I think. Here at this moment, at this time, basically we had the high jump, same mechanic, but it worked differently back then. For example, it had the slowing time thing, which wasn't fun enough.
Yeah.
And then how you activated the high jump, how that also worked.
How
that has been changed.
much user data did you collect to make the decision to sort of?
There is no data archive for that, but basically it was based on these guys giving feedback and maybe a couple of other people trying the game out and maybe coming and watching like the demo. Right here. You gave us a lot of feedback.
Yes, I'm sure. Yeah.
Not sure. Also a lot of feedback about yes, obviously. And based on that, some changes were also made, and levels were designed based on that feedback. Well,
But we have since it's such a good question about what do you learn in a longer project, could we also have the two other members take on that? What do you learn in a long project?
Well, yes, for me it's two things. One is scoping, but like the second and more important is the actual 3D modeling, because when we started the project I was thinking, yeah, I could do modeling, but it turned out I couldn't. I barely could like UV unwrap a model and like do one model in 6 weeks, as it happened one time, but like now I know how the process goes and I know what areas to improve.
and we basically also help each other. So, for example, like I said, I made the SMG because I wanted some stuff done, and obviously I know that these guys don't have all this type, but I do. So I did some of it, and basically what we also did, well, what I mostly did was I shared Blender knowledge to others. So if I knew something and they didn't, I shared it immediately because it could be useful in our modeling process.
Yeah, for my own work, I would say the thing I've learned, I've been mostly doing the SFX as of the latest months, is that, of course, I'm still open sourcing a lot of like base material for the sound effects. So even when you open source, don't settle for barely good enough. Settle for the best you can find. So now what I'm basically doing is I found better resources to use. Now I use those. fiddle around with those. So basically, I started the sound effect workflow all over again. But I don't think the new sounds have even been implemented yet. But there's maybe a dozen of them that I've made so far.
Well, actually, the zombie hit and reaction.
Oh, that's already in.
That's.
I need to practice my ears.
Yeah, that's a remix of what we found from Open Games Art website.
Just as a quick comment, I think sort of the sound design is pretty awesome, and as a person who has spent hours trying to find like a single shotgun sound, like that's really impressive that you've gotten it so together.
Actually, yeah, we had problems with that at first, but when I took a look at the opengamesart.org website once again, and then looked at the sound effects category, I then realized that this because it's meant for games specifically.
Okay, I believe in order Esko and then Togo.
Yeah, just I wanted to make a quick comment. Just like this feels like an actual game, which is like already a very, very, very big achievement. Like even though it has like lots of issues, it feels like a game. It has like a start and an end, which is like very hard to do on its own. So you've gone a long way.
It took a lot of time and effort to get to this point.
Yes, and I also like the direction you went. You're clearly doing something that looks very unique at this point. The like visual style you're going to doesn't remind me from the like standard shooter you were originally inspired by. It reminds me more of Antichamber or something like that, like glossy specific, large, open, quite vertical spaces, long alleyways and hallways. Looks good. One point of feedback I would like to give when I watched the demo, it was some point really hard to focus your attention to the actual action, meaning the enemies that are supposed to stand out really clearly. Sometimes because of their glossy textures, they got hidden behind all of these nice eye candy of wall textures you had, which was a little bit of a problem, at least for me. But you should collect at least a little more feedback, maybe get some glowing outlines for enemies or something to make
it is indeed a small issue, and maybe different colors.
Maybe, yeah.
And maybe different post-processing effects could help to solve the issue.
Definitely.
Many comments and questions from here and then there.
I really want to highlight the things that you have done to polish the game. There is a lot of visual feedback, like our sound feedback, and like feedback in all, like gameplay feedback. When you shoot enemies, they react. When you press any button, there is a visual reaction to that, and there is a lot done in that front, and it looks and feels really good, and sounds also.
Yes, my feedback was almost the same. Like it's so nice to see always when you have this project that has been worked on a long time. You have these almost like invisible features of like UI elements and really small things. And for example, the music changing is something that you don't necessarily notice, but you feel it, and it's a level of polish that is impossible without putting in like so many hours that you have done. And I think it's a really nice thing that you have achieved to bring all of these things, these assets that you've created for such a long time into this finished. Well, it's not
finished.
Any project isn't finished, but you have gotten it to the level where they've all been integrated into this one nice experience. So it's a good thing.
Yes. I would like to take the time to sort of to bring out a bit of critique. I know a lot of people have been very positive, and that's a good thing. I mean, well deserved. The one thing, for example, I noticed with Lilipop is that we weren't exactly like afraid of critique, but we could definitely have used more of it earlier. So at least it sounds like, I don't know your situation, but it sounds like you mostly do in-house testing, you do testing inside. So I would recommend, at least for anyone doing projects and doing like more bigger projects, is to get more varied feedback from a lot of people. And I know personally it's very scary because people might have differing opinions on stuff, but then you of course have to take that into account. Like, sure, it's your game, you get to decide, but then at least hear what other people have to say. So one concrete thing that I have is the sort of perspective. The FOV makes it sort of I don't know about the player. I haven't played the game, but to one also focus on the enemies, but also since also the movement is so fast, right? So everything moves very quickly on the screen, so it might be difficult to sort of follow the enemies.
Okay, and then very shortly, yes.
Yeah, just adding on to like Daniel's point, also just like as someone who has actually finished the game, like playtesting is extremely important. Like you can't stress it enough. You playtest like every step of the way, like every smallest feature that you add. If it has some kind of sizable impact to gameplay that isn't obvious, like just like something like adding mouse sensitivity into the settings, then that's like an additional feature and not like an implied one. Then like you playtest that, and you playtest that hard, and like you gather every small bit of data you can.
Did you have an answer for?
Yeah, I'm getting into that, but if you want to first, then comment first. Then
I was just thinking that you have done a huge project, and now I wanna like ask that if you would start it over, what would you do differently? And this is for each of us, each of you.
God damn.
Well, let's say since we're
That's
running
a big
out of
question.
time,
Yeah.
slightly one thing that you would do differently.
Okay,
Each one.
This is not my first project where I try to do an FPS. So I technically have gone through this process many times. But I would say is that maybe I would maybe focus on getting like a playable game as soon as possible. And that the concept is simple enough that you can make a prototype around it.
Well, I mean, I'm not even sure, but I mentioned that I spent about 6 weeks on one model some time ago. So yeah, maybe just try to put out models as fast as possible, and like maybe if I'm doing smaller objects, then like not spend too much time on them.
Yeah.
For me, as I was kind of getting like choosing your resource. I mean, if it's not a matter of money, it's a matter of licensing, and in both those cases, it's a matter of quality. So don't do stuff that's counterproductive from the get-go. That's basically what I learned.
And now, as a final thing, I want to answer your two questions about playtesting. So basically, now, as of like today, not exactly, but basically I'm trying to get as soon as possible h.io page up, meaning that I'm going to share the game, I'm going to try to collect feedback on it, and basically figure out technical issues and also gameplay issues that the game currently has. So please, if anyone wants to play test the game, you can do it right now once this presentation is over, and then answer a couple of questions on Google Forms. Or give free feedback.
Yeah, actually at the email yesterday, there was a talk about UX and stuff, and they were sort of also discussing the way you get sort of user data. So do you have any sort of specific strategy or plan for collecting it? Because people might not be naturally willing to sort of answer.
This discussion might be slightly too long for
I'll
the time allotted, so...
I'll answer you that privately, but basically the point is that we're now trying to gather data for further development of the game. Thank you.
Anyway,
Yes.
thanks a lot.